So just as I mentioned earlier, we'll be talking about um, essentially what a prompt is, how to write good prompts, and so essentially a prompt is much more like what you tell the AI to do. So if, for example, you tell it to, let's say we're using GPT now. So if I write what is today's date, this as a whole, like this whole question as a whole, is a prompt. So when you hit enter, it literally tells you what the date today is. So there are a few guidelines, especially when you want to write a prompt. What is a date is actually a very basic. Okay, let me show you an example of a chat I had with a tool in the past. So look at what I wrote. This is actually a prompt. My brother and I will want to start this business. If you're in our shoes, sorry I mistyped this. How will you start? So I would like to think that business I'm referring to. So in this instance, the generative AI asked me a question because I didn't supply a business. So I now found out that I didn't kind of supply a reference. So one thing you find out quite early using generative AI is that you get a much more personalized response if you generate a or if you create a context. So this is the voice note my brother shared, right? I made a transcript out of it. Transcript is like converting an audio sound to a text. So everything is sent to me, I made it to this. Then I wrote this. Here's the full transcript. So the full concept will have been my brother and I want to start a business. If you're in our shoes, how would you start? So my brother and I want to start a business, right? If you're in our shoes, how would you start? The attached transcript is a general idea of the business. So if I had not given it a reference, ChatGPT will have just given me a generic um response. I don't know if you are getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you don't give it a reference, it will give you a generic response. So if you find that you notice that I say, okay, but thank you for sharing full transcript. This actually helps a lot. If I were in your shoes, it went on to clarify and listed out everything we needed to do based on the idea I gave to it. So you need to define exactly what you want the AI to do. If you want it to draw a diagram for you, you tell it. If you want it to write a summary, you tell it. You provide context or background information. So if I'm preparing children for exam, let's say my son wants to prepare for an exam now, I can get past questions if I have a PDF, upload it on ChatGPT. Tell it based on this reference. And if I have other textbooks, I'll upload it. Based on this reference, generate me a new set of questions that will help me prepare myself for exam. So that way, ChatGPT will not go material. It will use what you've supplied and customize it to a new set of questions. So that's what that brings us to context. Then be specific, include details. Do you want a video? Tell it you want a video. ChatGPT might not produce a very good video for us at this time because it was optimized for text and images. If you want videos, there's something called Google View. That's Google VOU, VEU. That's this. Then there's this one that Elon Musk, that's XAI has to. I don't want to get this, like, I want to move past front part of the class with it. Just highlighted those ones. So show the AI sample. You can actually show a lot of examples. So, for example, I went to buy some earpiece the other day for my, and I was caught between two product options, right? I said, okay, this I I provided it comparison. Give me differences between Airtel, earbuds. It will have 100 examples. But the difference I wanted was specifically for this two products. That is very myself out the situations. You want it to diagram to it will be able to do. If you want it to draw a diagram for it, if you want it to draw a diagram for a 1 year old, you always need to provide context. Right? So, example, you can help the corona actually compare. I mentioned I mentioned the location. I mentioned the focus of that business, right? And I mentioned the area or the niche. So what was my request? My request is that if I copy this thing now, I GPT. So when you put something like this, it will write you based on the information you give. I don't know if I have any recent um, other iterations I want to share with you. Potential from that is that you don't even need to know everything to ask ChatGPT. So anytime you can ChatGPT to carry better for you, write your prompt. I'm trying to get the example. Let me see ChatGPT. You can write your prompt to write rewrite the prompt so that and it's still they now copy the prompt that's written for you. Now use it on the distance. So I'm not sure I've seen it yet. But if I okay, see this one. See this one. Just so you don't need to be perfect. Just write. Right. Let me see whether okay. Let me write an example. Okay. Let me check something. So make a, a 1 week plan on how to feed a 9 months old baby. This is my prompt, Abby. So to rewrite my prompt so that it will be better, what I normally do is I go to ChatGPT. I open a new ChatGPT. All right. I now copy this same prompt I've written. Come to ChatGPT and say, please make the above prompts better. So see what he rewrote. Create a detailed 1 week plan, feeding plan for a 9 months old baby. Include breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks where appropriate. The plan should be age appropriate, nutritionally balanced, and include a mix of breast milk formula, solid food with suitable textures. Please also not any food. So you see all it wrote, but see what I wrote the first time. So if I the result I would say might not be as perfect as So essentially, what you need to do is to make sure that when you're in doubt of a prompt, you can always open a note and tell ChatGPT to rewrite a better prompt. Then you copy the prompt and paste. It's perfect in this thing. You don't need question. So here, look at what it shares. 1 week plan, one banana, like that, like that, like that.
All right, let's talk about something that's on everyone's mind: how to actually talk to AI and get good stuff back. You've probably seen people get these amazing magical results, while you're left feeling a little underwhelmed. Well, if that's you, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
You know the feeling, right? You sit down, you open up an AI tool like ChatGPT, you type in your question, and the answer you get back is just so meh. It's bland, it's not very helpful, and it just feels totally generic. We have all been there. But what if I told you the problem isn't the AI?
That's the big secret. The quality of the answer you get is almost always tied to the quality of the instruction you give it. The key to unlocking what these tools can really do? Well, it's all about how you ask. It's a pretty simple shift in how you think about it, but trust me, it changes everything.
So take a look at this. This really hits the nail on the head. Imagine just throwing a question out there like, tell me about business. I mean, what does that even mean, right? The AI has no idea what you actually want. So what does it do? It spits out a super generic, boring textbook definition. It's that classic saying, garbage in, garbage out. Or in this case, vague in, vague out.
Okay, so let's make sure we're on the same page here. When we say the word prompt, all we're talking about is your instruction. It's the question you ask, the commands you type into that little box. That's it. That's the prompt. And it's the starting point for everything that comes next.
So how do we get better? What's the secret sauce? The first, and honestly, the most powerful thing you can do is add context. This one little change is the difference between an answer that's kind of useless and one that's a total game changer.
Let me show you a real-world example. So somebody started with a really simple prompt. My brother and I want to start a business. And you guessed it, the AI just gave back a generic list of stuff to do. But then they tried something brilliant. They took a transcript of a voice memo, where they were just brainstorming, talking about their actual business idea, and they just fed that whole thing to the AI as a reference. The result? A completely personalized, actionable plan that was built directly from their own conversation. How cool is that? And that's the key takeaway right there. Without that context, without that reference material, the AI is just taking a wild guess. But the second you give it some background, a document, a transcript, even just your previous questions, it can create a response that's tailored just for you.
Okay, so context is king, we got it. But there's another piece to this puzzle, and that's being really specific with what you're asking for. Let's see how this builds on that first idea. This quote gets at something really important. A lot of us kind of freeze up because we think we need to write this perfectly crafted, beautiful prompt on the first try. But you don't. Being specific isn't about being perfect. It's just about getting that first rough idea out of your head and onto the screen.
Look at this. It's not a perfect sentence, is it? Plan on a 9-month-old baby. But you totally get what they mean, right? They want some kind of plan for a 9-month-old. This is exactly what we're talking about. It's a starting point. It doesn't have to be pretty. Now here's where things get really, really cool. What if, instead of racking your brain trying to think of all the details yourself, what if you could just ask the AI to help you write a better prompt in the first place?
This is the secret hack. It is so simple. The user just took their messy first draft and told the AI, please make the above prompt better.
That's it. It feels way too easy to actually work, but just watch what happens next.
I mean, look at that. It's a night and day difference, right? On the left, you have that simple, kind of clunky starting idea. But on the right, the AI turned it into this incredibly detailed and powerful prompt that's going to get a fantastic result. It added specifics like 1-week feeding plan, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks, nutritionally balanced, even a mix of solid food textures. The user didn't have to think of any of that. They just asked for help.
So what have we actually learned here? Well, you now have a set of tools that can take you from just a casual user to someone who really knows how to get the most out of AI. This is your prompting superpower.
So let's put it all together. Here's your new toolkit. First, always give the AI some context, some reference material. Second, be specific with details. You can even tell it to act as a certain character, like act as a teacher, or tell it who the audience is, like explain this for a 10-year-old. And of course, the ultimate trick, just ask the AI to rewrite your prompt for you. Just these simple things will totally transform the answers you get. And you know, this really gets to the biggest idea of all. Getting good at prompting isn't just about asking better questions. It's a conversation. It's about working with this incredible tool, collaborating with it to sharpen your own ideas and get to where you want to go.
So when you learn these techniques, you're not just getting better answers from a machine. You're learning how to wield a tool that can seriously amplify your own creativity and your own productivity in ways we're just starting to understand. So the only real question left is, how are you going to use it?